thought the leopards would eat my face. No, I never thought the leopards would eat my face. Well, I turned my back on my own kind, but I somehow thought that I'd be fine. No, I never thought the leopards would eat my face. Slow it down now. Me. I never thought the leopards would eat my face. No, I never thought the leopards would eat my face. Well, I turned my back on my own kind, but I somehow thought that I'd be fine. No, I never thought the leopards would eat my face. Slow it down now. Me. I never thought the leopards would eat.
Let me tell you the story of a mindless Trump cultist named Robert McCabe, a dumbass Trump voter who is currently in the finding out phase. Check this out. Hundreds of Philadelphia IRS employees were laid off on Thursday by 34-time convicted felon Donald Trump and his drug-addled fellow narcissist and unconstitutional co-president Elon Musk. Alex J. Berman, the executive vice president of the National Treasury Employees Union, Chapter 71, told NBC News that hundreds of Philadelphia probationary IRS workers have already received their layoff letters. Berman expects a total of 400 employees in all to be laid off in this round of cuts. Quote, "The letters are willfully incorrect and to our belief unlawful," Berman told NBC News. Quote, "They say essentially your abilities, skills, and performance do not make you a fit for federal employment. In addition, your performance is not up to par." This is patently untrue. These are all being issued with the exact same wording to every single one of these probationary employees, even if they have just gotten out of training and had no performance metrics, or whether they've been here for almost the entire year and had very good performance appraisals. One of the laid-off IRS employees, the aforementioned dumbass Robert McCabe, told NBC News that he went into work on Thursday and had issues logging in. He and his co-worker sat around and waited for instructions. He then received the layoff letter shortly before 11:30 a.m. McCabe said that he had been a supporter of President Trump prior to the layoff. So okay, what's the problem? This is what you voted for, right? He continues, quote, "You know, when he talks about government waste and all, yes, I'm behind it. So what are you complaining about, Bob? You wanted Trump to cut waste, right? Well, guess what? You're the waste. I know, you expected everyone else to lose their jobs, just not you. I mean, you voted for Trump. He'd never fire you, right? The leopard you voted for would never eat your face, right, Bob? Idiot." Anyway, McCabe said, quote, "I believe there is a lot of stuff in the government that needs fixing. And that's part of the reason why I actually wanted to work for the government. To help change the things that are wrong in the world, you know? Well, guess what, Bobby? The convicted criminal that you voted for decided that you are what's wrong in the world. How do you like that? You know, Bobby, working for the federal government is a pretty sweet gig. The pay is really good. The benefits are fantastic. Sure sucks that Trump took that all away from you. But again, this is what you voted for. Maybe you were too stupid to realize that that's what you were voting for, but that's what you were voting for. And we tried to warn you. I mean, we tried, but you wouldn't listen. You did your own research. Right, Bobby boy?
I'm done. You want to talk about regretting your vote?
I never thought I'd say that, but I regret my vote. I voted for Trump.
I voted for Trump, and I regret it now.
As a Hispanic, I voted for Donald J. Trump. Dude, I regret it so much, man.
I am regretting my vote for Donald Trump.
I voted for Donald Trump, and now I regret it.
A lot of people who were like me voted for Trump and have to account for that.
I regret voting for Trump.
So deeply regret my vote for Donald Trump.
I regret voting for Trump.
I was a dumbass, voted for Trump. It was the worst decision I ever made.
I've seen the light, and I got out of MAGA. A lot of us there have seen the light. We have deep regrets.
I feel guilty because I voted for Trump twice. I feel very guilty because I feel responsible. That's why he's still running.
I was with Trump for 9 straight years. I'm disappointed. I'm very disappointed in Trump right now.
I never thought this day will come. Well, I'm gonna regret what I did. I really regret voting for this guy. I'm working on this program for the Sound Power phones batteries. We're researching these batteries for these Sound Power phones, and they cut off our funding. It is really sad. You get to the office and they tell you, we're no longer going to fund your research for these batteries for these Sound Power phones. And you know, what makes me sad is that these batteries were going to make such an impact on the lives of our deployed troops, especially the sailors out there. And these are for vital communications on board the ships. So I truly regret now my vote. And I hope more people speak up just like I did.
Following Trump's hiring freeze, the VA rescinded her job. A Trump supporter has just lost their job directly because of Donald Trump's policies, and they are in a state of confusion. They are reaching out to Donald Trump for help and thinking that this should not have happened to them. Take a look at this. This person says, my wife is a nurse and was recently hired by the VA. Our home is packed up. We have a new home, spent thousands to move from Fort Worth to Waco. Following Trump's hiring freeze, the VA rescinded her job offer. Now look at what's highlighted. We are all huge Trump supporters, and I know this was an unintended consequence. What do you mean it was unintended? Did they really believe that Donald Trump could create policies that would only affect non-Trump voters, that somehow Trump voters wouldn't be caught up in all of this? This is the find out phase. This is exactly what you voted for, someone who would sow chaos. And it's not just going to affect the people you don't like, it will affect you too. And now all I can think is that this guy and his family are singing, I never thought. A Trump supporter has just lost their job directly.
And now, in the first few weeks of his presidency, I regret my vote. I never thought I'd say that, but I regret my vote. I voted for Trump. And now, in the first few weeks of his presidency, thousands of people are losing their jobs. I lost my job. I was the director of operations of bear studies. For the last 4 years, we've been studying whether or not bears in fact shit in the woods. And now it's gone. It's all gone. What am I supposed to tell my family? What am I supposed to tell them? If you voted for Trump, I don't even know what to say. Except fuck you. All the money being taken, all the jobs being lost. I don't know what to do.
Alabama voted for Donald Trump and Elon Musk. They voted for Donald Trump and Elon Musk to go through the entire budget line by line, or I'm sorry, not line by line. They voted for them to take a sledgehammer to the budget and not give a shit who it hurt. And can I just say that Alabama, you have nobody but yourself to blame. See, while you were so worried about somebody else getting $1, you forgot that you were getting 100 of them. That's right. If you didn't know this, the American taxpayer was subsidizing the state of Alabama's energy grid. I didn't know this, but yeah, that's what we were doing because they're too poor to afford their own energy. So now that Donald Trump and Elon Musk have gotten rid of the grant that helped pay for their energy, all of the people in Alabama are getting a $100 surcharge added to their electricity bill. How's that for inflation? But hey, Alabama, you voted for this, and in all honesty, why should we have to pay your energy bills? Find some bootstraps.
I am a National Park Ranger. I was fired by Donald Trump. When you go on vacation this summer, I hope there are no forest fires because I and thousands of my coworkers, other National Park Ranger and National Forest Service members won't be there to help put out the fires. So good luck with that.
Hey y'all, so I've been seeing it float around that there are some MAGAs who actually do regret voting the way that they did. And what I have to say about that is good. Because honestly, the more you regret the thing that you've done, the more uncomfortable it is for you to sit with it, the more likely you are to remember this for next time. Maybe you're finally going to admit to yourself, I was wrong. Maybe you're finally going to admit to yourself, other people were right. Maybe you're going to admit to yourself, I made a huge mistake. I never should have done that. Maybe you will finally admit to yourself, I got taken in. I fell for a con. Maybe also you will admit to yourself that you don't care about anyone or anything unless it directly involves you. Maybe you'll finally admit that all of the people who were fighting for the cushy life that you had been living are the exact people whose lives you voted against. Maybe you'll finally realize how complacent you'd become. And maybe you'll finally realize, yeah, you know what? I actually was/am racist. Maybe you'll finally admit that you had been living with bigotry and racism up until that point, or maybe even now still. And maybe you're going to finally realize that what we're all facing now, you included, is not how we want to live. So yes, good. Regret it. Be uncomfortable. Sit with that, because nobody's gonna have any sympathy for you. You're gonna sit with that all alone, and you're gonna have to face some hard truths. And I really, really hope that this experience changes you for the better. Because honestly, if it doesn't, then you kind of truly are a lost cause. Meanwhile, everybody else, what do we get to say? I told you so.
So, I used to be a MAGA Republican. Let me just kind of explain why I jumped from MAGA over to Kamala Harris. So let me just kind of sit back and explain. It actually just happened recently. So let me just kind of back up. In 2016, I voted for Donald Trump. Why? Because I was afraid. I was scared of Clinton, and it worked. And all 4 years of Trump being in the office, I felt secured. I felt validated. And then after 2020, just like everyone else that's on that ship, I believed him. I genuinely believed that, our election was stolen. I believed that there was some mass conspiracy, and I genuinely felt the guy. I was like, whoa, if he's going to get prosecuted, I could be next. And that was the narrative and the thought process that I was being fed. I also was listening to a lot of outlets and a lot of voices that validated my concerns. And that was the things that, and I don't want to say I was unwilling to listen to any other debate, but I was always afraid to have a debate with somebody. And that was what it's been ever since before the 2016 election. It was at a point where I was afraid to talk about my political beliefs because I had seen my friends get attacked, like literally physically attacked, and had their personal lives attacked. They had people around them that were attacked just for having a simple difference of opinion than somebody else. And then another thing that I was afraid of, which was being promoted quite a bit, was that there was a lot of illegal immigrants that were coming across the border, and they're hurting people, they're doing damage, they're hurting this country, XYZ. And I'm like, and I've always been pro-immigration. I'd always been pro-immigration. I'm like, yeah, immigrants are what make this country amazing, because they bring the best parts of their culture and the way they think about things and make this country better, make this country great. And that was what I was a staunch supporter of. But the biggest thing was, again, the thing that drove me the most to continue to back him was fear. It was the fear of other. It was the fear of somebody coming to hurt me. It was the fear of somebody coming to hurt my family. It was somebody, that was wanting to take away my livelihood. It was also the fear of just using my voice in general to be afraid of talking about the things that were important to me, and to be afraid of even being knowledgeable about politics or anything like that. But what changed my mind this cycle, and I think this is probably very true for a lot of other Republicans, especially former MAGA Republicans like myself, former MAGA, was Kamala Harris. I don't know how it happened or why it happened, but she brought the joy of politics again. She has given us the confidence to say with our chest, for me, I'm all about women's right to choose. It goes beyond abortion. It goes down to just basic specialized care that women need, whereas men don't need. Mental health is another big thing that we all need to talk about too. Being able to find ways to, secure our border, actually having a concise plan for your average American as far as the economy goes. Being able to say, hey, look, we're going to tax this group of people because they have too much money, and then it's going to boil down and help fund programs to help average everyday Americans. Those things right there made me say, you know what? I shouldn't be afraid anymore. I shouldn't. That's been the key ticket for Donald Trump and a lot of other Republicans who stay behind Trump, who are loyal to him. Their platform is fear, and it has been fear. Fear of other, fear of invaders, fear of people coming and hurting you, the fear of somebody coming and taking your rights away, the fear of, pushing the fear that if you don't vote for him, that you're going to be voting for some dictatorial type of government. And the policies that he has planned, and the proposals that he has planned, are an overreaction to a supposed fear. And I keep using that word over and over again, but that's basically what the main reasons why was. I believed that we were doing better under Trump, back in 2016 through up to 2020. I felt that we were doing better, which was not true. He carried on a lot of the policies from Obama, and we are currently living under Trump's tax plan right now. Currently, I didn't realize that until I actually dug a little deeper. But my point is that I switched because I felt happy. I felt good about it. I'm like, okay, cool. Let's finally have a discussion. Let's talk about things. Let's not be afraid anymore. Let's actually think about things. And, and like I keep saying on my other videos, just keep letting him talk. And him talking was what drove me to say, no, I'm not doing this anymore. So anyway, wanted to give you guys insight. I was a former MAGA Republican. I was fervently behind Donald Trump, but as you can see from my last videos, that's clearly not the case. Please continue to have these respectful, honest, really, really respectful discussions. It really does mean a lot. Thank you guys. Keep going. Move forward.
I'm voting for Trump because he's going to build a border wall and make Mexico pay for it. I'm voting for Trump because he's going to implement tariffs and make China pay for them.
Guess who paid for the border wall? Not Mexico. The taxpayer did.
And guess who's going to be paying for these tariffs? We, the consumers. Trump's border wall cost the taxpayer $15 billion, and he only managed to build 400-something miles. Much of it just replacing existing wall, and only 80 miles of it was new wall. And when handing out contracts, Trump skipped over the whole competitive bidding process, which would have lessened the cost for us taxpayers. Trump raising tariffs on China will just increase the cost for U.S. companies to buy these products or raw materials. And these companies will just pass the cost of that onto the consumer by raising prices of their goods. It's estimated that Trump's tariff plan will cost the average U.S. citizen $2,600 to $4,000 a year. And how do we know this is going to happen? Because he already raised tariffs the first time he was president, which increased costs for American businesses and consumers.
That now she has no health care because she was fired. And all of you who lost your job in the university and your research and everything else, and all of you who voted for Trump, all of those MAGA tears that you're crying now, you can use them to fill the Gulf of America. Okay? And then the lady in Missouri on this TikTok saying, we live in rural Missouri. Well, we know you voted for Trump, but now we can't have telemedicine. I have a disabled child. We know you voted for Trump. Get your ass in the car and drive 2 hours, since they have now canceled Medicare telehealth. You all voted for this. You voted with hate, and now the hate is coming back at you because he told you in every one of his speeches what he was going to do. But you decided in your little hateful mind, oh, he's talking about those other people. Good for you. It's going to get even worse.